Hello and welcome to the Valley. Today I am your host, Janet Michael. It is Tourism Tuesday, Berryville, Clark County edition. So I am back on the Zooms today with Martha Reynolds. She is the executive director at the Barns of Rose Hill. Always lots and lots and lots of things going on. Doesn't really matter, Martha, that we've had the unofficial end to summer because you got plenty happening through the fall and the holidays.
That is absolutely right. The fun never stops at the Barns of Rose Hill.
I am really excited, I have to tell you, because you do such a great job when we're doing this show of sending me a list of things because there's no way I could manage to keep track of all of the things that you have happening. But one of the things on your list is the Shen Arts member exhibition. That is one
hmm
of my favorite ones every year.
I know it. I know it. And I am just so excited. They have been coming up with the most unique and interesting different themes. So last year it was the summer solstice. The year before it was opposites attract. And this year it's rooted. So I think there's always some very literal interpretations of the theme and some really heady metaphorical interpretations. But it's such a nice show because it's a really wonderful showcase of what our local art scene looks like. And I feel like it's such a great showcase of so many different types of media, artists in all different sorts. So we're going to have woodworking, we're going to have photography, we're going to have paintings. So it's a really nice array of things. We're very much looking forward to it, as we always do.
I had them on the show a month or so ago. Now that they've opened that artist co-op
Yes.
downtown on the Walking Mall, I feel like a lot more artists are going to be involved with the council, which then means more cool things to see when they have these member shows.
Definitely. It's all about visibility and exposure in those ways. Having that physical space is such a boon to their cause and what they've been trying to do for so long. So I'm really excited for them. They really are, they're in a wonderful place.
I have actually signed up to take a class on alcohol ink.
Yes, and that's with Heather Williams. She is
Yes.
a fantastic instructor, really good. So I highly recommend.
When does the show open? How long will it be at the Barns? Give me those details.
Definitely. It'll be here from September 13th through October 25th, and we will have a formal opening reception on September 17th. It's a Wednesday in the evening. So we always have the artists here to talk about their work. It's definitely a good opportunity to learn a little bit more about the Shenandoah Arts Council and about how they partner with local organizations like the Barns of Rose Hill to showcase local artists.
It is such a great way to meet the artist. So if you go to that opening reception and you see a piece there that you just fall in love with, it's a high likelihood that artist is going to be there and they're going to be able to tell you the story behind it or their inspiration. And then that piece just means so much more to you.
Absolutely. It's not like buying off Amazon. It's a totally different experience. And to meet the creator of something that calls to you, there's no other experience like that.
And it's all for sale. That's the other thing. Sometimes you go to exhibitions like this and they're for looking only and not necessarily for purchasing. That's not the case here.
No, absolutely. No, and this is a great opportunity to support local artists because it's not an easy racket to be in. So this is an excellent opportunity to support local, and we have all different price points for this too. You have things that are in the $100 range and then things that are a little bit pricier, but obviously those are the larger scale pieces. It varies quite a bit.
And then you have a new show that you will install on the 8th of November, and that'll take us through the end of the year.
That's it. Yes, yes. So that's the year rounded out for us. Firehouse Gallery is a gallery in Charlestown, West Virginia, and they reached out to us. Much like Shen Arts, they have members. So it'll be a collective exhibition featuring all different sorts of art, from jewelry to sculpture art, everything in between. So that should be a lot of fun too. They have grown. We should have a really nice assortment of things here for the holidays, holiday purchasing. That's
Right. Yes. And
There's nothing more personal a gift you can give than a piece of local art.
And no shade to individual artists that sometimes do get their own show there at the Barns, but I really, really, really like when you have a conglomeration of different types of artists because the diversity is just so great that you're sure to find something no matter
Yes.
who or what you're buying for.
Exactly, exactly. The ones that are a little bit more eclectic, they tend to be more fun. Not to, like you said, not to throw shade at our single artists, but these are definitely good ones to come to for sure.
We were talking a little bit during the break about the Franklin exhibit that just recently closed. And you were telling me about the different programs that you had associated with that particular exhibit. The comic book making, for example, people really enjoyed that. You do programs throughout the fall too. Those aren't always tied to an exhibit that you have.
No, no, we're always doing fun little things. This summer, we did have during the exhibit period, we had a paint and sip that was Peanuts themed to integrate with the exhibition. But we'll be having another paint and sip night, for instance, this fall, getting people out doing a little learning techniques of painting while having a little libation there with you. Those sorts of things are a lot of fun. And of course, we continue on with trivia nights in the fall that we do in collaboration with the Clark County Historic Association, and those are just a romping good time. We ended up having to start getting people to register last year because we were having so many people. We didn't have enough tables and chairs.
And
So
I feel
definitely
like I
popular.
need to give props to both you and Nathan because most people that come to trivia have no real idea of what has to happen on the other side. There is a ton of research, and you guys really put a lot of time and effort into the questions and into all the other things to make those nights be as fun as they are.
Oh, right. Yes. And Nathan Stalvey and I collaborate on the questions. He does half and I do half. And it always comes together in what is a very fun amalgamation of general trivia that most of the time people are thinking, I never knew that. And I'm happy I do now.
And then you have screenings. You do films at the Barns as
Yes.
well.
We've had a really successful assortment of films this year, but we're really looking forward to our screening of Taking Care. It is actually the story of Seth Rogen, the comedian. His wife's mother, so his mother-in-law, got early onset dementia and they became caregivers. And what they found were that there were not a lot of resources out there for them. So they created a charity. It's called Hilarity for Charity. And this documentary, Taking Care, to showcase the disease and to help people, caregivers in particular, find resources to support them. And we're looking forward to that because it's a collaboration with the Rotary Club of Clark County and also Dementia Matters, which is a system for supporting caregivers based in Winchester. So we have taken dementia training here at the Barns of Rose Hill. We are officially dementia friendly, and we look forward to shining a light on that. It will be on World Alzheimer's Day. Dementia is a part of Alzheimer's, so that's on September 21st, and that'll be nice. So definitely anyone who is a caregiver, this is for them, and this is to really honor those people that do the hard work.
Several years ago, Dementia Matters was one of the nonprofits that had applied for a grant at United Way, and they were on my
Uh-huh.
impact grant panel. And I didn't
Mhm.
even know that they existed. And so being able to sit through their presentation and to hear the work that they do, it
Oh,
is
yes.
incredibly valuable. And so many people don't even know that they're there. So I love that you're able to spotlight that in a way.
Yes, most certainly. We actually did not know they existed either until we started doing a little bit more research. Seeing the films empowered us to do more research on resources available for caregivers, and we connected with them and were thrilled to see that there is a lot out there. It's just about making sure that they get the right exposure that they deserve.
Coming up on the 25th of October, you have an open mic night. What are those like?
So it's been interesting. We do them about quarterly now, Janet. And our very first iteration was really the most eclectic. It had rap. it had someone reading their memoir. We had Mara, an 11-year-old vocalist, come and sing. And it is everything in between. We have a gentleman, he plays classical guitar and he does his own original riffs and is flabbergasting how good these people are. And you'd never know otherwise. Everyone's got these hidden talents that they come out and they showcase. So we really encourage people to bring their talents of all sorts to show. And it's a lot of fun because it's a community that cares. It's a community of like-minded, creative people that are all supporting people who get up on stage and just pour their heart into it.
It's almost like a buffet for entertainment. Like when Tim and I can't decide what
Yes.
we want for dinner, we'll go somewhere that we know has every option possible so we can both get whatever we want. This is kind of the same because you show
Yes.
up and you don't know. Is it going to be somebody doing a dramatic reading, or is it going to be country music or bluegrass, or is it going to be somebody doing comedy? That really is interesting to me.
It is, it is. And we do have a pretty devoted group who come just to see what the smorgasbord is like. They just want to see. I think it's so intriguing, like you said, because you just don't know what you're going to get.
Let's take a break. When we come back, the other thing that, of course, the Barns of Rose Hill is very well known for are your performances. And you've got some really good ones that are coming up along with some tribute shows. Can we get the details on that in the next segment?
Sure can. That sounds great.
We are on the Zooms today with Martha Reynolds. She is the executive director at the Barns of Rose Hill. It is Tourism Tuesday, Berryville, Clark County edition. So we're going to come back and talk more with her in just a couple of minutes. Hello, nonprofits. Have a project that's been sitting on the back burner? United Way NSV's Day of Caring returns on September 19th, and your nonprofit can be a part of it. This is the region's largest single-day volunteer event with over 900 volunteers ready to help. Whether it's painting, landscaping, organizing, or repairs, Day of Caring gives your organization hands-on support and saves thousands in maintenance costs. It's simple. Submit your project, let United Way match you with a team, focus more of your budget on what matters most, your mission. Learn more at unitedwaynsv.org/Day of Caring or reach out to dayofcaring@unitedwaynsv.org. Let us send helping hands your way. Welcome back to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. It is Tourism Tuesday, Berryville, Clark County edition. So we are on the Zooms getting an update from Martha Reynolds. Martha is the executive director at the Barns of Rose Hill. We learned about some upcoming exhibitions that are happening at the Barnes Shen Arts Member Exhibition. Is going to open on September 13th with the artist reception on the 17th. And then we also talked about some of their programs. Trivia has kicked back off, so you missed it in September. It's happening tonight as we're recording, but last week as you're listening. It's a time machine kind of radio show day, Martha. But you have a ton of performances, and when you sent over the list, you sent me your staff picks, which
I
I find incredibly helpful because they've heard it all. So if they think it's good, then it's got to be stellar.
Yes, absolutely. We love everything that comes here, so don't get me wrong. But there are definitely those that are on the list that they can sometimes escape people's notice because people are thinking, oh, I've never heard of them before, so it would be taking a chance. Well, I'm telling you, it's worth taking the chance. We've got some really incredible artists coming. We're really looking forward to having Jocelyn Pettit and Ellen Gira back on September 19th. They are a Celtic folk duo. They just released their sophomore album, and it is fabulous. It's a fiddle and cello duo, and it's Scandinavian, Celtic, it's Scottish influences. It's beautiful. And I will be honest, if you like the Pirates of the Caribbean score, it's definitely got some of those sort of swashbuckling elements as well.
I love
So
that.
they
That's
are
a great way to
delightful.
describe it.
And then we've got Red Volkert coming back with Dave Chappell in October. That's October 18th. These two guys are the masters of the Telecaster electric guitar. There is nobody that beats these two guys. So it is something to see. And they're going to come with a full band. So that is definitely going to be one to see. Red is known across the globe as one of those electric guitarists that there is just no master for. Like, you cannot beat that. He's
I
incredible.
cannot even begin to imagine what that sound is like in your venue.
Oh, it's very cool. It is a very cool experience. We had him here in 2023, and he's just such a laid back artist. So we're calling it roots rock, but really there's elements of country, there's swing elements, western. It's very fun. I'm sure they'll whip out a couple of Patsy Cline songs as they often do. So it's definitely a good time when Red is here. And I also wanted to call out Caleb Clotter and Reed Willems are going to be here. People might know them from Foghorn String Band. They're incredible, and we haven't had them here in years. So definitely super excited to have them back on November 21st. That is going to be a lot of fun.
I used to not put a lot of stock in people who perform outside of the group that I normally see them perform
Mm.
in. And then I heard some people that were doing one or two of them from like a five group band or something. And I was like, wow, they're as good as, maybe even a little better than when the entire group is there. So I love that sometimes you get pockets of entertainers that want to do things outside of the normal thing.
Exactly. Sometimes the repertoire that they've settled into with one group, they want to expand beyond that. They want to do their own creative path. And that's great because it brings you something totally different. So, in terms of Americana bluegrass, it's hard to beat Caleb and Reeb. They're going to have two other artists with them for this show. So, it should be really nice. I think people will be excited to see that one.
The other thing that I was never really that impressed with until I actually saw one were tribute shows. Because
Mhm.
I always just assumed, why would I want to go and hear somebody else singing the songs of the person that I liked singing them in the first place? And then I got drugged to, probably, I think it was a Patsy Cline. I was shocked at how much I enjoyed it. So I love that you also sprinkle in tribute shows at the barn.
Yeah, I think everybody loves those familiar favorites. And I like to see new artists come up with fresh interpretations, fresh arrangements, but also call attention to music of the past. For instance, we're having the Kingston Trio back on October 4th. Last year, when they were here, so many people came up to me and said, I am so glad to see that people still care about keeping this really authentic American folk music alive. And there were people buying CDs for their grandkids. I'm going to give this to my grandson so he knows what we used to listen to and he can see the value in that. Because so often we're just on to the next thing. So I think that there's also that element of the tribute shows that call out some of the best musicians of all time. We're going to have Seven Voices back to do their annual Patsy Cline tribute on September 19th. We always like to do that on Patsy's birthday month and just celebrate her music and her legacy with fresh arrangements. Jess Elliott Meyer, who leads that group, she is a stellar clarinetist, and she always brings that out. And I can't tell you how much delight that brings to a Patsy Cline show. It is not a traditional tribute show in the sense that you might see elsewhere. They're not trying to do a one-to-one. They are honoring her by bringing in fresh arrangements. And Joan and Joni, which is a tribute to Joan Baez and Joni Mitchell, that is Allison and Kip and Martin. They do a really wonderful duo show, and so many of the favorites. Big Yellow Taxi. It's all these recognizable songs that you think about when you think about revolutionary folk artists in the 60s and the 70s that really made a real impact on music as we know it. So it's really nice to be able to showcase some of these voices that are carrying the music forward, but also doing a little bit of their own thing.
Music is the one thing that seems to tie the generations together. Clothing and fashion comes and goes, but I
Hmm.
was joking with my husband last year. We're watching the Super Bowl, and almost every single Super Bowl commercial had songs from when I was in high school. And I'm thinking, this can't be the only audience that the Super Bowl is trying to target. I'm sure that they want the millennials and the Gen Z and whatever the new generation is, but that music is what transcends the age. And so
Hmm.
I love that people are still learning about something that maybe some of the rest of us grew up learning about.
Right, right, and very much so. Yes. I think there is that people looking for comfort in difficult times that comes with American folk music, and it's such a great opportunity to showcase that. So I really do hope that people will give some of our tribute shows a try because they are definitely worth it.
When we were on the show, our last conversation, you were telling me a little bit about the endowment campaign. This is the last year. Like you get through this year and you are solid, right?
That's right. That is right. This will be the first official announcement, Janet, that we successfully completed the ninth year in a row. And basically, what that means with our endowment fundraising campaign, we try to raise $100,000 a year for our endowment, thanks to a generous match by the Eugene B. Casey Foundation, which means that every dollar up to $100,000 is doubled, which is tremendous. By the end of that 10th year, with an endowment of over $2 million, hopefully much more with the fair market value, we will be set for hopefully many years to come,
Decades.
hopefully past my lifetime and all the ones beyond it. So generations. And we're just so excited to have been able to successfully complete that ninth year. I tell you, Janet, it's not easy to raise $100,000 a year. And that's just for one thing that goes into a permanently restricted account that we can't touch.
I
So
know.
I think that we've been putting a lot of effort into this for the last 9 years, and we're so excited to come into this 10th year because we feel like we've had so much success and that we really hope that people rally behind us in this final stretch.
I would imagine that there is a pretty diverse mix of people that are writing you checks for 20, 30, maybe even $50,000. But then a lot of that money typically in communities like ours come in $100, $200, maybe even $20 amounts. And all of that comes together in order to reach that goal.
Oh, it's so significant. Our smallest gift from the ninth year was $12. When we say every dollar counts, we mean it. There is no amount of money that is not appreciated and put toward this investment in the arts. So we're really proud to continue this on. And we're hopeful that people, like I said, people rally behind us in this last year so we can really end on a strong high note.
And let's talk for a second about what having that endowment means. Let's go on the assumption that you get through your 10th year and you hit your $100,000 mark. We're hearing a lot in the news now about nonprofits losing their funding and
Right.
federal grants being much more complicated to come by, and the economy, people aren't giving necessarily at the rate that they did maybe 4 years ago. So,
Mhm.
having this endowment is incredibly helpful for the future.
Absolutely. And we have a endowment policy that we adhere to, which basically allows us to take a distribution of just the earnings, never the principal. And it's a very small percentage. But as the account grows and grows, those cover essential costs. Things like keeping the lights on, things like making sure that on a 95-degree day, it's not 95 in the barns. So we can still enjoy our programs, even if we're having horrible weather. There are so many bits and pieces that people don't necessarily think about when you're trying to operate an organization like this. Unseen expenses, that's where this annual distribution from the endowment really goes a long way. And like you said, funding sources are drying up. So it becomes more and more valuable over time. And you're seeing a lot of smaller organizations look toward establishing endowments because it rallies community support to put into and invest into the future of the organization.
And that doesn't mean that you're not going to do any more fundraisers. You're always
Right.
going to have to do fundraisers. You've got one coming up in November, but fundraisers are still going to be part of the fabric of who you are.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's always that need for immediate, not necessarily, I don't mean urgent, but there's always going to be that need to continuously fundraise. It is inherent with small nonprofit organizations of this particular size. We're always looking to find fun and creative ways to include people in the organization and feel associated with it. Because frankly, there's always going to be another water bill. You wash your hands at the barns, we got to pay for that. That's where those $5, $10 donations on top of your ticket purchase come into play. And that's where those really make an impact. So definitely those sorts of things really help. And there are sponsorship opportunities. We have a little group called the Classical Club that supports our classical music series. So we can bring in really high caliber artists in the classical genre when it helps, because we also want to be paying performers what they're worth, what they're due. And that's a really important thing for us too, is making sure that our artists are remunerated properly. So I think that's a big part of it as well. And I think people see that their dollar goes towards that here at the Barns, and we really try to achieve that. But to your point, Janet, yes, we're looking forward to trying a little brunch benefit. It's called Bubbles and Brunch, and we're going to do that in November. We haven't done this before, but we're going to be featuring some sparkling options from Slater Run Vineyards, which is a local winery in Upperville, and we're going to try it. It's going to be a little bit of fun. Obviously, we picked a Sunday, but we really tried to avoid the Commanders football schedule. So that is a Sunday where the Commanders do not play until the evening. So you can still come out for the afternoon brunch benefit and enjoy a full day.
That's the other thing that a lot of people from the outside looking in don't understand from an event planning perspective, particularly a nonprofit fundraising perspective, is that you got to look at all the other things and what's going on and what could impact attendance and
Yes.
all of those types of issues that could arise. Because heaven forbid you pick a Sunday that the Cowboys are playing the Commanders, then
Oh,
that's the
absolutely.
end of all.
Yes, no, that is the dangerous zone that you definitely don't want to be in. But it'll be fun. We'll have local jazz duo Caleb Nye on the piano and Kevin Johnson on bass, and they do such a wonderful job. And they'll be here again for a holiday show for us for their annual holiday jazz show. So we just love them. It's a great opportunity to enjoy some music, good company, and good wine.
So, where can people go find all of the details for everything that we've talked about today? Where's the best first place for them to start?
Best first place is our website, which is just barnesofrosehill.org. That is the number one source of information. But of course, we're all on Google and everything else. So if you want to just go ahead and Google Barnes of Rose Hill, Red Volkert, if that's the one you want to come out to, that'll be right on the top of your search engine as well. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, social media. Definitely look out for us there. Barnes of Rose Hill is our handle. And we're also on Bands in Town. A lot of people look to that. It's an app for local musicians. So definitely look out for that. People can find us pretty much any way they want to, as long as they're looking.
Yes, they have to make the effort to at least look.
You have to, even if you just type in local performing arts venue, that is satisfactory.
Martha, thank you for taking the time today. I do appreciate it. I love knowing about all the things that are coming up at the Barns.
Oh, thank you, Janet. I always enjoy our chats.
I will be back tomorrow with a brand new episode of The Valley Today, a few minutes after noon, so meet me here then.